All right, everyone, here's the last video about multiplying and dividing decimals. Multiplying decimals is super simple because basically you ignore the decimal and you multiply and then you deal with the decimal at the end. So let's say you had 2.4 times 1.3, okay? So you're going to write them like this, and hopefully you remember your multiplication. Basically ignore that you have a decimal and just multiply the same way that you would multiply 24 times 13. Okay, that's what you would do. 3 times 4 is 12. You carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. You're going to move one step over. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 2 is 3. You're going to add. So I'm not going to go over how to do the multiplication. So hopefully you remember this one, okay? 11, 4, okay? So this is if we have multiplied 24 by 13, but the fact is that we really actually multiplied 2.4 times 1.3, but we ignore the decimals first. We multiply as if they were not there. And then once we have the final answer, we're going to go and count the total number of decimal places that we have, and then go from right to left and count those. So I have one decimal place here, one decimal place here. So I have a total of 2 decimal places. So I'm going to start from the right of my number and count 1, 2 decimal places and put my decimal place there. So 2.4 times 1.3 is 4.12, okay? Assuming I didn't make a mistake in my multiplication, okay? Let's try another one, okay? I'm going to use the same numbers, okay? But I'm going to change the decimal, the decimals, okay? Let's say instead of 2.4 times 1.3, I have 2.4 times 13. So the bottom one doesn't have a decimal. So again, I'm going to ignore it and I'm going to multiply the same way as if I was multiplying 24 by 13, which will give me again 72, 340. So, okay, so same numbers, but now I only have one decimal place. So I'm going to count one decimal place from here. So my answer is actually 41.2. Okay, so that's how we will deal with the decimals in multiplication. Ignore the decimal, multiply, and then look at all the numbers and count the total number of decimal places you have. And then count it for the final answer. Start counting from right to left and put your decimal places where it belongs based on that. Then we have the division of decimals. So let's talk about, for example, let's say you have 14.2 divided by, let's say 7. Okay, I'll make it simple for now. Okay, super simple. You just look at the decimal and you move up, put the decimal there, and you're done basically. Okay, now 7 goes into 14 2 whole times, so that comes before the decimal because that's 2 4 times. Okay, let me make this into a 7 so that it actually works well. So subtract 0. The decimal has already been dealt with. You bring the 7 down, and 7 goes into 7 one time. Okay, and you're done. Okay, here's another example. Let's say 24.8 divided by 6. Bring the decimal up, and you're done with that. Now 6 goes into 24 4 whole times. Okay, the decimal has already been dealt with. Bring the 8 down. 6 goes into 8 one time with a remainder of 2. You are allowed to add 1 0 before you have to add zeros over here to continue your division. 6 goes into 23 times. And a remainder of 2, and that's enough well, for the purposes. So you don't need to keep going forever and ever. So 24.8 times 6 is 4.113 or 4 and 1300. Okay, a lot of people just read it as 4.13, which is fine as far as quick reading, but mathematically it's 4 and 1300. Okay. So that's a quick lesson on how to divide and multiply decimals. Again, if you have any questions, let me know.